Welcome back to another episode of Meet the Scholars. My name is Libby Krieger, and today I'm joined by Dr. Michelle McFeaters. Dr. McFeaters is the Assistant Dean of the Alva J. Calderwood School of Arts and Letters here at Grove City College, a Professor of Accounting, Director of the Business Program, and the Chair of the Online Teaching Committee. Along with her teaching experience, Dr. McFeaters has written published course materials, has gotten involved with consulting, and has a lifelong passion for furthering charitable organizations. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Libby. It's a pleasure.
So just to start off, I would love to ask you about your time as a textbook author and professor of accounting and finance here. What changes, if any, have you noticed in the last decade or so to the field?
So there's been quite a sea change in accounting and finance. We unfortunately experienced a lot of turmoil in 2002 with Enron, WorldCom, and a lot of new oversight that was needed in the accounting profession. And so as such, we've needed to overhaul our accounting textbooks. We've needed to talk differently about how we approach the discipline. And we also see the 2008 financial crisis and the Dodd-Frank Act having a big impact on how we approach the discipline. And in a nutshell, the biggest change that we've seen is that there is a much greater emphasis on business ethics, corporate governance, and companies doing the right thing for all the right reasons. So it's been a real pleasure to be a part of rewriting the textbooks and helping some supplementary materials and publishing that to help students see how important that is for the future and for them in their careers down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are some big changes, and I'm sure it'll only continue to keep changing as we move into the future. So at the Institute for Faith and Freedom, you have given several lectures in the past. Can you briefly describe some of the topics that you've engaged with in these past lectures?
Absolutely. So I've been excited to be a part of a faculty development seminar that the Office of Global Programs hooked me up with in 2016. And as a result of going to the Czech Republic and working with probably 15 other scholars from across the country, going deeply into the history of the focal point of that conference was communism and its lasting residual impacts on the economic, social, and political developments there. So we dove deeply into history, to contemporary politics. We met with the Communist Party in the Czech Republic that was still active, much to the citizens' dismay. They were still active. So I came away from that with this passion and interest in that region of the world, which was a surprise. Like I never realized how that would impact me. I was initially supposed to go to a conference on world financial markets in Brussels, and that one was canceled. So I went to this one in the Czech Republic, and from there, that's how I got tied in with the Institute for Faith and Freedom and presenting and writing some papers for them. So my first paper, my first project with the IFF was centered around the residual impact of communism in the Czech Republic. And that was the theme of the conference in 2017, I believe, is focusing on what was happening as we looked back in history with communism and socialism and the impact it's had in our current world.
Those are some fascinating topics, and it's great to see how passionate you are about those. Now, a lot of people may not see the connection between accounting and finance and what we do here at the Institute. How do you see accounting and finance directly relate to topics of faith?
So for me, there's been a natural connection between why I was drawn to accounting and the fact that I'm a Christian. And so I see in, as a young person drawn to this discipline, that accounting tells a story in a different way than companies would, maybe tell their story with words. So we tell the story with numbers, and we're entrusted with that. And companies themselves cannot be successful in a free market or in general unless they're serving a real need in society. So as a young Christian, I was drawn to accounting directly because I understood that Christ, who is the one who holds everything together, as we know from his role as the creator and the sustainer of life, and of course as our Redeemer, coming to earth to serve humankind, to reconcile us to the Father through the Son, and now of course the Holy Spirit guiding us. his example of being a servant, serving humankind, resonated with me as far as what businesses do. Businesses, if they're successful, they're serving their neighbor, they're serving others. And so a Christian in the field of accounting, in business, can be called into that arena.
Absolutely. I think that's such an important connection to draw. So thank you so much for explaining that. And last question here today, do you have any upcoming projects or works that we should be on the lookout for?
So capitalizing on the theme of the Moravian Brethren and the Czech Republic, there's a fun fact that I am finding to be quite important for me to continue a little bit of research on. But I mentioned that the Moravian reformers came to Pennsylvania, and the town of Bethlehem is where they settled, and they are responsible. So my research in that arena has led me to the realization that they've been responsible for the one-room schoolhouse movement. So they were really kind of key and foundational in education here in Western Pennsylvania. So my next research project is going to be along those lines, and I can't wait to get rolling on it, and you'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We can't wait to see that come out. And thank you so much for joining me here today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to meet Dr. McFeaters. Before you go, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and check out our website at faithandfreedom.com. Tune in next week for another episode of Meet the Scholars.